Michigan tax deed sales. Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and we're going to have a lot of fun with the Michigan tax deed sales. Now, tax deed sales really means it's going to be an auction, so just keep that in mind. But the state might call it tax deed sales, but I'm going to tell you it's really going to be an auction. So this episode is all about Michigan tax deed sales, which I want you to know right away are going to be auctions. So my name is Ted Thomas, and I've been involved in this business for over 30 years. Now, it's really a subset of the traditional real estate business. Now, traditional real estate, as you know, is homes. It's going to be some vacant residential lots. It's going to be some small apartments, and maybe even some small office buildings. So this is a subset of that business, which I call tax defaulted property and tax defaulted real estate. So it's not a very well-known subset, but this is a very profitable place for you to work. I like to say it's outrageously profitable for people once you learn how to do this whole thing. All right, now most businesses are not very exciting, but you're going to find that this video is exciting, and if you go to one of these auctions, you'll definitely find out it's very exciting, especially when you're sitting in the audience like I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and the treasurer's representative, which is the auctioneer, is saying to the audience these words, and I'm going to read it because I want to give you the quote. Any property not sold by 4 p.m. today will be auctioned in 42 days for only starting bid of $100. Everybody in the room just went into shock. So think of what just happened. The treasurer's representative, that's an auctioneer, is saying that they're going to discount those properties to $100. Anything that doesn't sell at that auction 42 days later is going to be sold starting bid $100. Now, if you lived in Michigan, you darn sure don't want to miss that auction. Folks, you're going to learn how to buy property at $100. That's a heck of a good place to start. All right, now generally speaking, property at tax defaulted auctions, and in this case, the Michigan tax deed sale, the bidding is going to start somewhere close to the back taxes. So that could be 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. And when the auction takes place, the mortgage is going to be extinguished. It's going to be wiped out. Actually, in Michigan, they've already wiped the mortgage out because they own the property. So what are you going to do with these properties when you get them? Well, you need to start learning now about how you're going to sell them, because anybody can buy property, but you really want to learn how to sell. So how would you do that? Well, you could use Craigslist. You could use the multiple listing service. You could use Facebook Marketplace. You could use Trulia. You could use Zillow. And what about those hundreds of auctions, electronic auction sites? You could use all those, and you could do all that from your home computer. And I have many clients that do that. All right, so we're going to talk about tax defaulted property. In Michigan, they call it Michigan tax deed sales. Okay, these are really auctions. The highest bidder will get the property. So we'll talk a lot more about that as we go along in this episode. So the past 25 years, I've been teaching people and guiding people this process of tax defaulted real estate. Now, in tax defaulted situations, the treasurer just wants to get rid of the property, so they'll start at very close to the back taxes, and they'll sell the property to the highest bidder in the room. There will be no mortgage on the property when they sell it to you. So the deed auctions are conducted by an official treasurer of the county or their representative. Don't be surprised if the treasurer is sitting in the room. And so here's how all of that works. So the state has enacted laws. I didn't enact the law, and the local county didn't, but the legislature enacts the law and then tells the county board of supervisors or the county commissioners what to do. Now, what they have to do is the treasurer must levy taxes, try to collect the taxes. If they collect them, they're happy because now they can pay all the county bills. But if they can't collect it, they're going to confiscate that property. All right, now that's all written in the statutes, which are the laws of that state. You can look those up online. You can look it up on the auction site. But all property owners must pay property taxes. All right, now I don't make the rules. The legislature makes the rules, and they will be different at different auctions, and they'll be different in each state. But just understand, the treasurer has power to levy the tax, collect the tax, and if they can't collect it, they're going to confiscate the property. That is, they're going to seize the property, and they're going to push the people off the land. So think of a property owner that's there that didn't pay. They're going to push that property owner off the land or the property, and then they're going to resell it, and try to get whatever money they can. Now, what do they do with that money? They take that revenue and they pay the county bills. They pay for the police department, pay for the schools, they pay for the firefighters, they pay to fix the roads, they pay the county employees. That comes from property taxes. So you're getting the idea. So the treasurer has the power to seize the property. So that power is very strong. So they have police power too if they wanted to. All right, so the county doesn't want this real estate, and they're not going to try to make a big profit. They're just going to try and sell it and get enough revenue so that they can pay the county's bills. And believe me, the county has a lot of bills. So how will you know it's a good deal? Well, every property will be assessed. They'll have a tax assessor, but the treasurer doesn't care about that assessment. The treasurer will discount those properties 60%, 70%, 80%, because they just want to get rid of the property and they want to get some revenue and they want to get the property back on the tax roll. Now, what does that mean? Well, all the properties are on the tax roll. That's the money they're going to collect. They want to get it off the defaulted tax roll because they're not getting any money back over onto the regular tax roll of the honorable people, and so they can start generating money again. So that's why they auction the property for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. Okay, now those aren't exact numbers because whoever's at the auction bids it up. If they bid it up, they're going to take the highest bid. It's always sold to the highest bidder. And the mortgage has been deleted. All right, now all 3,000 counties are authorized to sell tax defaulted property. So my students, they travel all over online and offline, and they buy these properties. Now in Michigan, they actually call it the Michigan tax deed sale. But in reality, it's the Michigan tax deed auction. So it's going to be an auction, and that's what they're talking about. They put those in the paper. They put them on the county website. They're going to announce those. Anybody can show up. It's a public auction. The highest bidder will win the property. Highest bidder always wins the property. All right, now the majority of the properties can be purchased in that 20 to 30 cents on the dollar range. It's not unusual for properties to go for those lower prices. Now, if one bidder wants to bid it up higher, they're going to sell to the highest bidder. Now, I don't know who you are, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably a little bit different, so you want to do things differently. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to be an entrepreneur because they want to create a lot of money, or they want to create a certain business, or they want to be famous. All right, I don't know what motivates you, but let's think about that a little bit. You have to follow the rules at the auction, and they're going to sell you great deals at the auction, but what are you going to do with these deals? Where people have the problem is they don't get involved in the sale of the property. Everybody can buy. So if you want to sell property, you need to do what we've talked about. And what have we talked about? You need to use Craigslist. You need to use the multiple listing service. You need to use Trulia, Zillow. You need to put signs on the property. You need to put it in the newspapers so people know about it. You need to go to clubs and tell them you have properties for sale. So the auctions are online and they're offline. Now, in this case, they call it the Michigan tax deed sale. It's really an auction, so keep that in mind. The highest bidder is always going to get the property. Now, many of these properties are used and abused. Okay, now some of them are absolute junk. Don't buy junk. Forget about junk. You don't want anything to do with junk. But some of the properties just need to be cleaned up and you can move into them. So you want to buy the ones that you can sell quickly. The whole idea is to buy it low and sell it low, just like Costco and Walmart. What do? They buy product low and they sell it low. You want to buy these properties and sell them low. All right, now Michigan will have unique rules at the auction. Can I give you all those now? No. You have to look those up before you go to the auction. There'll be auction rules, so you need to know the rules of each auction. Now, I went to a Kalamazoo auction and was surprised when they said, 42 days from now, we're going to sell everything starting bid $100. Well, I didn't see that anywhere in the rules, so I didn't even know it. So that's why I was surprised when I was sitting near the audience. So you'll get those kind of surprises all the time, so you want to be prepared for it. But the auction rules are all listed for all properties. Okay, so why are you doing this? You're doing this probably because you want to be entrepreneur and you want to have the freedom to do what you want when you want to do it. Well, you certainly can do that. And this is a part-time business. You need 6 to 8, 10 hours a month to do this because the auctions are always scheduled. So you don't need to quit your job. Rule number 1, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, is don't quit your job. And rule number 2 is reread rule number 1. Don't quit your job. So keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so I don't know how many hours that you want to work, but this is not a business that you have to work a lot of hours. All right, so I'm just about to button up this video, and before I go, I do want to say this. If you're going to go to the auction, and you're going to look at the property, you're going to be A-okay. But a lot of times you can do this online. So if you plan to buy a property, you need to have boots on the ground. It's either going to be your boots or someone you know has looked at that property. Why? Because what if there was a fire and it burned down? What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a flood? What if there's a big windstorm? Any number of things could happen to a property and you wouldn't know it. Now, some people are going to say, Ted, I saw a picture on the internet. Well, how old was the picture? Was it the day before you bought it? So you need someone to look at every property. You don't want to buy a property unless you've had someone look at it. So boots on the ground is number one. Number two, you need to make sure that you know you can sell it. So figure out your exit strategy. So this is appraised at or assessed at $100,000 and you can buy it for 20 cents on the dollar or 10 cents on the dollar. Well, sell it at 40 or 50 cents on the dollar. Don't try to get 100 cents. Just get it sold. Buy low, sell low, and do that whole thing fast. My name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video.